Shahar, I had a whole day yesterday playing around with Nix Vim. Um, I learned quite a lot, and I quite like it, but I'm also going to try to be better about staying focused as we get started. So I'm just planting that seed as something that I want to talk to you about at some point.
I should probably also start using that thing to improve my. I'd like to, that because of the inherent it's not, Nix typically, more common usage is that you end up compiling static, markup, like YAML, INI, TOML, JSON sometimes, but
Markup, the right word for that?
markup languages. I don't know. Config languages.
Yeah, config maybe.
And NeoVim configs are like
Lua.
NeoVim. It's
Vim
Lua,
scripts.
right?
Yeah.
And that's it's actually in the same kind of the same space as Nix, right? It's like it's an interpreted language.
Yeah.
So you have to generate Lua now, but when you edit Lua, you want to edit Lua files because there's tooling for that and syntax highlighting for that, and
yeah,
it's a bit of a mess. Roland also got some friction with that when I tried showing him how Call Manager works.
I experimented a bit with that and tried some things, but because I ultimately lost interest in Nix, I kind of stopped pursuing my endeavors in that space. So, and then I stopped using NeoVim as well. So,
yeah. So, stop me at any point, Shahar. But I'll mention 2 rabbit holes I went down yesterday about the whole using Nix to generate a language thing. You're right. That's a problem they have to solve. I've now read a lot of the code they wrote to do that because it turned out they had a to-do in their code, which was some Nix code designed to, given a string, escape it to be a string that you could use in Lua, or some long string with potentially interesting characters and new lines and all that, and turn it into a valid string literal in Lua. They had to write code in Nix to do that. And then they had also written a helper function to do the same thing, but to create a valid string literal in Vim script. Yeah. And both of those didn't actually, they both had bugs with little to-dos about actually handle this. And so I ran into that bug. And then I was like, okay, I'll try to fix it. And so I put together a PR yesterday. That was fun.
Oh. Nice. Wow.
And they seem to be willing. One of the maintainers responded and said, I'll take a look. So that'll hopefully get merged. The other thing I learned about, because I've used this as just an excuse to go through my ancient vimRC, which I've never gone through from top to bottom. It's just evolved over the course of since 2010 when I started my first job out of college. And so I've been with every line, I've been okay, wait, actually, do I still need this? Is this actually managed by another plugin? Or is this plugin actually just going through everything? And so I've been astonished by how much has actually just been put in NeoVim core that I was not aware was in NeoVim core. And I never really understood what tree sitter was about. I knew conceptually what it was, but I seemed to have decent syntax highlighting without it. Maybe I didn't realize that my syntax highlighting could have been better. But the thing I hadn't realized was the universe has gone on this whole thing with tree sitter understands this concept of injections, which is basically embedding programming languages into other programming languages. And so you can actually get syntax highlighting of that, long bash string you injected in your Nix code, or that long Lewis script string you injected in your Vim scripts code or whatever. I had no idea. I feel like I just like went to sleep for a decade or two and woke up and I'm like, oh, look at all the things the world has done. So that's been a very satisfying experience.
Yeah, I think that's been part of like it took quite a while now, but yeah, obviously there's still room to improvement. For example, Rust doc comments still don't really look good with the like quote unquote official tree setter grammar, because it doesn't highlight doc comments. It just makes doc comments regular comments. So the regular Vim grammar for Rust is actually currently the better highlighting, because it highlights your Rust code inside of doc comments and stuff like that.
Got it.
Because it interprets it as Markdown, while the tree setter doesn't. And I don't really know why. I haven't looked into how it is defined and why it can't do it, because it should be capable of doing that. Like if a Vim grammar can handle it, like why can't tree setter it? And probably it can, but
yeah. I mean, I've read enough now to know what to be dangerous there. You'd want to look up on injections in tree setter and see if the grammar, maybe there's a fork that has annotated the Rust grammar accordingly. I'm not sure. But you basically write these queries, these like AST queries that identify like strings or comment blocks, and then are able to annotate them as, okay, yeah, it is a string, but it's also got this language type inside, and then it can recursively invoke.
Yeah, maybe the issue with like the Rust doc comments is that it's not like one continuous string, but it's like lines that are all prefixed with something. So I don't know how complex that injection would be, because you only want to inject the letter half of that comment, but you want to have the context of the lines that came before that. But if you start a code block in one line, then there's like 3 slashes again, and then there's the content of the code block. So it needs to understand that this whole thing is one. Maybe that's possible. Probably that's possible, but I haven't looked into how that's possible.
I see what you're saying.
And the annoying thing is, like, I switched to Helix, and Helix only uses tree setter for highlighting.
Oh, so that's good. You're motivated to solve this for everyone.
Well, not really, because I just switched to NeoVim, write a lot of documentation.
All right. Shahar, I'm going to stop myself.
And we're sorry to possibly disappoint you, Roland, but what we are currently doing in this Rust project, PR Tracker, that we all worked a lot on together at the moment, is reorganizing the Nix flake code using this library that helps you organize your flake.
Right.
So we hope that you bear with us.
I mean, maybe I'll be convinced of Nix this time. Right?
Yeah, this time. And with that in mind, Roland, take the command. Do you know what that means? Take command. I
think you called take the helm.
Right. So now I've introduced this concept of a captain, like the captain of the starship, and they are in charge. So everyone else can kind of be more relaxed. The captain is in charge to see that everything works. That we're making progress, and everyone's
right.
I don't know. Everything seems reasonable. Oof, this loud piece of paper. Okay, so when I say Roland take command, I do. I don't know if you can see it. So I do something like this on paper, and I'll show it in the camera, or I'll use Excalidraw, which means I'll share screen. Moment. Screen. Excalidraw. And this, remember this, Roland?
Yeah, maybe similar graphics I've seen. Yeah,
this is our
probably this exact one. Maybe actually.
Git.
I think you were with us when we.
Together.
Yeah, how Git merge
You might have been the
works,
one to draw those circles, for all I know.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience.
So
Understanding
similar to this
Git merge.
This example, I say Roland takes command. So this is what I have a piece of paper, and everyone should probably do this on a piece of paper so everyone knows. Roland take command, so I do this. And then Roland probably says, Jeremy take the helm. So I do this. And then when the timer runs out, Jeremy does the mob next thing, and Roland probably says, Jeremy take command.
Right.
And then Jeremy probably says, Dawn take the helm. And then it becomes this, and so on. Until it gets out of sync for some reason. Important thing is to keep track of this because it can get out of hand if you don't know it. No one knows what's going on. That can happen. Right. So Roland take command.
Right. Then Jeremy take the helm.
Okay. I need to be able to share my screen. Thank you. Right. Mob start 7. All right. We got a timer going. So Nick's Flake show. Does that give us a clue about where we left off? It does not.
If you could just scale up your screen for us.
Thank you. How's that?
Better.
Okay. Let me know if I should go further. So looks like the last file we touched was this packages.nix, but maybe we got that working. I guess what we've been doing is we've been basically trying to make all of this commented out code disappear. So basically, Roland, this is, I mean, it's not it anymore, but what we started basically was by commenting out our entire flake.nix and then rewriting it. And as we've been rewriting pieces of it, we've deleted it from this block of code here. So we know we're done with the mob branch when all this commented out code is gone.
Right. So just press D and we're done. No.
Exactly.
All right.
So I think.
So what would be in here? The next thing left.
So we were really close to getting rid of a whole chain of dependencies. I think we maybe even got there, but didn't get to do the satisfying part of deleting it yet, which is we had ported packages over to Flake parts, I believe. Like, see how there are packages here?
Yeah.
But what did we have? Do we have any comments or to-dos in our packages.json? No. I think we finished that. Does that sound right, Shahar? We wrapped up the packages work. We got the last thing we had to do, I remember, was the checks for the packages, which we are now doing. I see that right here. Oh, and then we had to make this concession to continue to use flat and free, which was kind of like
for a while.
Yeah, Roland, the sort of thing that triggered this whole refactor was we were hoping to get rid of this file, and then it turns out we're going to keep this file, at least for now. So what are we doing and why is maybe a little hard to justify, but if you'll just bear with us, we're almost done, I think. So I think, Shahar, if I remember correctly, we are literally at a point where this can go away because we ported these checks over, not the NixOS ones. Those are still around, or those still need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we can basically just delete packages from there, and then a lot of satisfying stuff starts to happen because, oh no, I found another reference to packages I hadn't noticed before. Make public module. We have definitely not done this yet, right?
Right.
I understand too little about what that does.
What does it do?
This is about creating a NixOS module, presumably, for consumption by people who want to use this project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think if we want to continue to approach this in the order we have been approaching it, we now need to port this over before we can delete packages.
Make public module. Where is it used? Below.
Good question.
Just
there
below.
are two outputs, API and fetcher.
Yep, NixOS modules.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what we would do, and there might be a future restructuring in the future, but basically, would we change these two files to themselves be Flake parts modules so that they can export the NixOS modules themselves?
Right.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay.
What I don't see what this function. It adds. Okay. So the path
it takes two arguments.
Ends up in the imports list.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the. It's just abstracting some duplication that occurs between these two modules, and I think the only reason it's here and not inside those files is exactly the kind of thing that Flake parts helps with. It's injecting context. The value of options _PR packages.
Oh,
we're using packages.
This is just a way to thread ourselves around. Okay, I see.
Yep.
These are not options for the outside world.
Exactly.
That's why we've done the Python style _ prefix here. I didn't even know internal was a thing, so I've just learned something. But we don't have to do this, is what you're saying. We don't have to hack this together with the NixOS module system. We can use the Flake parts module system to do this in a cleaner way. Okay, shall we do that?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Okay, great. So then I think these will become Flake parts modules. So I'll start by putting them in our list of imports. So that'll be /modules /api.nix and fetcher.nix. And now Nix Flake Show should start failing because they aren't.
I think they should be moved to a directory called NixOS modules, not just modules.
Well, it's weird because
I'm sorry.
They're technically going to be Flake parts modules.
No, I'm wrong. Yeah, they could even leave at the root.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying you prefer such modules to be in some directory.
All right, I'm going to rotate. One of my personal little quirks is I don't like littering the root of my repos with files if I can avoid it. But I agree that the word...
that's an issue I have with Nix as well. It's you often get 5 files that are not really project related, but some Nix stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel adding one file or one folder for something makes total sense. But having that many files in root, kind of feels icky to me.
So I have 2 responses to that, Roland. One, I think I've finally gotten to the point with my knowledge of Nix and my recent understanding of Flake parts to where you don't have to litter your repo with those files anymore.
Right.
And then philosophically, I really like the way Jonas from the NixOS Foundation puts it, which is Nix should help you and then get out of the way. and it doesn't always get out of the way. And so I think it is possible for it to get out of the way.
Captain Roland,
pass
command.
Jeremy, take command.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Shahar, can we see your screen?
Taking the helm.
So in terms of how I'm planning to structure this stuff in my own personal Flake, Shahar, I was thinking about having a modules directory with subfolders for the types of modules. So like there'd be modules /flakes for the flake part modules.
Mm-hmm. Well, that already exists here, and so sounds good to me. Here, these two. There's nothing else there, is there? Modules. There's some other stuff. So some of the things here need to go to NixOS modules.
Yeah. And so we could either, like, we could rename this folder from modules to flake modules, or we could create a tree inside of this modules folder for NixOS modules and flake parts modules.
I will move this from modules to NixOS modules and make a directory modules for flake part module. Make sense?
I mean, it feels a little weird to me that flake parts modules gets to be called modules, but NixOS modules gets a prefix.
They're the top level modules. Do you want them to be called flake parts?
I probably would have done like modules and then have like in there like NixOS and flakes.
That's what I was proposing, was modules /NixOS and modules /flake or flakes.
Okay. So move.
But I haven't done this before. This is like
modules.
I just started using flake parts 2 days ago, so I'm learning.
Moving, making directory NixOS and making directory modules flake parts.
I like that.
Or just flake.
Nice. That works for me too.
And then let's open this thing and there's something wrong here. Yeah.
I think you called it NixOS modules, so we just need to
rename
it or something.
That. I delete this. I'll rename that.
Wow. Is this Yazi?
Yes.
Nice.
Nice, right? It's like we already had this with Midnight Commander in the 90s, and now this is somehow nice.
Well, I never added any of these tools to my tool belt.
Or the 80s even. So I'm going to cut what NixOS will be common and DB and API and fetcher. But they could also remain just NixOS modules.
Yeah, and we could have a little layer.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think so. Okay. Okay, so that's all here.
Then we can change these imports accordingly.
Yeah, imports.
So instead of modules API, it'll be modules /flake /API.
Flake. This way.
I like that.
And then to create one of them is modules flake API Nix. To create another one of them is modules flake fetcher Nix.
Wonderful.
And to look down here, this. So Roland remembers anything about the Nix packages module system?
Barely.
Here's the kind of the gist of it, is that in this context of the flake, we are supposed to specify the outputs of the flake.
Right.
And here we specify the inputs of the flake, and then in order to provide the outputs, to get the outputs, we must specify a function from inputs to outputs, all that. And in order to have any kind of ergonomics here, flake parts, what it does, it uses the Nix packages module system for this purpose. So what you do is in that function, you go and call inputs, flake parts lib make flake. You inject it with your inputs,
Right.
and that's how your inputs get here. This is the entry module. This function, that's the entry module. And what it does is it typically imports the rest of the modules. So this attribute is a feature of the Nix packages module system that allows you to either import or have inline modules, such as this one and that one.
Right. And those imports will also define a function from inputs to something.
Yes. And there's more here. There's more inputs. There's more arguments here other than inputs. And there's some more features that you haven't that flake parts provides for convenience. We will probably see them all. So we are importing this one, that one. We want to have there is something similar to what's going on over here. See this? Here, rotating. Rotated.
Okay. I think I'm in charge. No. Shoot. Sorry, I lost it. Who
yes,
is in
Jeremy,
control?
You're captain.
I am captain. Okay. Great. Roland, let's see your screen.
Which means you are currently captain, which means you should probably pass that on to me.
Handing it off to Shahar. Sorry.
Roland, take the helm.
All right. Screen sharing seems to work. What branch are we on?
Flake-parts. Could you zoom in a few ticks?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please open up the flake.nix. Go to the bottom, the very bottom. What we see there, the last two lines, that's the adder set that ends up being the outputs.
Right.
So it'll be system-specific outputs and shallow merged with system-agnostic outputs. A few lines above that, you can see those system-agnostic outputs. I think system-specific outputs we might have finished. I'm not sure. In any case, we're doing this system-agnostic outputs now because that's where NixOS modules are. So on the right, you should have yes, an adder set, probably a function, but let's go for another set for now. And in that, there will be, I think it'll be flake, and that's an adder set. But we can do nested into it. Dot NixOS modules, right? And that would be, well, this is one of them, right? So this would be dot API.
Love it.
And I think it'll be very similar to what make public module does, in the sense that it'll have imports and options. And start with the imports. Imports will. So what happens here is that the file we're editing now is a flake parts module, but this this API attribute, the value of it is a NixOS module.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to define another module here. Like, the reason we're defining another module, sort of like our shim wrapper module on the left, is because we didn't have the power of flake parts to inject, to basically to thread this PR tracker packages around. But now we do. So
now
I think what we can do is we can just say flake.nixosmodules.api equals, and then import, like no curly, yeah, perfect. Import ... / nixos /API.nix. And this won't work. We need to actually like get this threaded around properly. So now we take we're going to change this file, which is just an attr set, to be a function. So just add parameters at the top and a little colon.
But also braces in a colon?
Yeah,
or
perfect. Exactly. That's great.
I don't see how that works. See, on the flake, in the flake.nix, what we're doing is we're defining a...
Where, at the top or at the bottom?
Near the bottom. If we could have line numbers, that would be nice.
Right, that's a good idea.
Shahar, you're right. That doesn't work. I wasn't quite done. If that's relevant.
Line number.
My point is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just to make sure my point gets across, that line 110. No, line 111, we're using self.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that self can get there is via flake parts module, because on the right in that flake module, it's available if you add it to the pattern, to the function pattern, parameter pattern, the first curlies in the file.
Right.
If you add self there, yeah, I believe, and then you comma, and then 3 dots.
Should set up an LSP to format that file. Or
you can run nixfunc, and but it might not work depending on how well or whether our flake currently works.
Oh, right.
And that option, or wherever that option is used within these modules, that needs that context. So how do you sort of...
Yeah.
How do you plan to... What's your thinking, Jeremy?
So I think a cleaner way of doing this would be to use that _module.args stuff rather than this hidden internal option.
Of course. Okay, that's one thing. But how do you get self there?
Yeah, so I was wrong. I think we do need to define a little shim module here to do that.
Yes.
So, sorry, Roland, but if you go back to saying API equals, and move that equal sign.
Imports equals a list with that path in it.
We're missing an equal sign after API. Perfect.
Rotate.
Awesome.
Well done, Roland. As a non-Nix user, you seem to have edited the Nix file very well. Roland, take command.
Right. Then Jeremy, take on.
Okay. Command and forgiveness. I'll start 7. All right. So here we are. And compared to what we had on the left, basically what I'm proposing is rather than using options to thread this around, and maybe we shouldn't make this change right now because we could do it in a follow-up change now that I'm like talking through it. But what we could do is we could add a basically dependency injection mechanism here using underscore module dot args dot.
Just a point. It doesn't need to be in the imports. It could be directly in the.
Good point. Thank you. That's much better. Module dot args dot, and then we have to choose what to call this. Like we could use self prime would be the flake parts name for this sort of system specific.
It doesn't require all of self, but I mean it could be.
Yeah, I mean those are arguably both useful. So like if we wanted to like,
and it won't be self prime, it'll be self. There is no self prime. Self prime is like when there's two selves, there's only one self. You have self prime when there's a system involved, right?
Yes. And so I'm looking at this line of code here, and it's telling me that what these things want is a system specific version of our flake. So like we need to get our hands on package.system and get our hands on a self prime so that they can conveniently get to the system specific packages.
That packages doesn't come. That comes from from it being an NixOS module.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So if you want system there, you need to make that NixOS module, API equals a function.
So what? Yes, I agree. And then what I'd propose is that we thread in a self prime so that people can conveniently get their hands on the packages. I'm just using the naming convention.
But that's a changing of the public API. We didn't even never meant for this to have a public API.
Well, I mean, sorry, are you saying that this right here is part of our public API?
It's not. It's meant to be private. I mean, it's unavoidable. And you know what? It says internal true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least a hint to the documentation to not generate it.
Yeah. Speaking as the only user of this flake, I feel totally fine with dropping this piece. It was never meant to be used by others.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it does have an underscore and it is internal true. So yes, it's not a breaking change to drop it. But
now that I've
my concern.
Sorry, go ahead.
My concern is to is in introducing more arguments. That's my concern.
This doesn't affect the public API at all.
Module args, the user will have in their evaluation of their NixOS config, they will have this self. In fact, it might even conflict with their own.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I see what you're saying. Good point. Okay, yeah, you're right. So maybe this pattern on the left is a better pattern for this.
Options can conflict as well. So it's more about, we are sharing a namespace. So we just need to like underscore whatever we do.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's why it's called underscore PR tracker.
Yeah. I'm sold.
And specifically, it's the packages, PR tracker packages, and nothing else.
Yeah. Okay. I totally agree.
And I'm not saying it should be an option. It could very well be a module args. But I don't think that's a related change to the change that we're making, is it?
I agree. So let's leave it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get our hands on this thing. Oh, we must have deleted the import. Do you remember where this comes from? Is it lib?
Make option, it's lib, yes.
Okay, so is that as simple as lib dot make option?
Yeah, but I think we should get lib from NixOS, not the Flakeports one.
Okay, so that would be lib here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. Makes sense. So then I think we're pretty much in business at this point. Nixflake show should show us.
Well, we did one.
Yes. Yeah, we've got to do the other one. And so I'm getting a syntax error about fetcher.nix. Fetcher.nix. Go. API. Fetcher. Okay. And so now we should have some NixOS modules. Beautiful.
Looks good.
Okay. And I do not feel too bad about having effectively inlined the implementation of makepod from public module twice.
Me neither.
If we wanted to, I think the pattern for this would be to like create a library, like a Nix library function.
It's in our common, just to import a common module. Can't we just import a common module?
A common Flake
we
module?
Already have a common NixOS module. Yeah, we could just.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Import.
Well, I'll rotate because I think I heard the buzzer.
Who's in command?
I was muted. That is smart. Oh. Yeah, Jeremy, take the command.
Okay. Stop sharing and Shahar, let's see your screen.
Got the helm, sharing screen, starting. This is Fetcher, this is API. They look the same. If this could be duplicated, then
okay, so what there probably should be is yet another NixOS module called
common.
But
that NixOS module needs access to self. So that self needs to get there somewhere. The only way it gets there is from it being a Flake parts module.
So we'd create but we'd only have one copy of this. Is what I'm saying.
But can't we in that module? Because that's what the module system does. Is it merges. So this becomes an option. Can't we just save it as modules flake common? Sorry, what? Flakes flake. I'm having problem with the name because it's for the purpose of the API and fetcher. So it's like a NixOS common.nix.
Makes sense.
And what it does is it takes self and it does something like flake.nixOS modules.fetcher.
Except it's not called fetcher, right? It would be like PR tracker or common or something.
Yeah, it does the same. So that's in the common part. The common part is this. Assuming, sorry. Now I have to get lib from a different place, which is bothering me a little bit.
No, I mean, I think we structure this the same way. Like, it looks, this file is going to look basically identical to the file above it.
You mean this will be a...
Like, just literally copy the file above and clobber this buffer.
I'm not sure that's what I wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I don't know where you're going with this.
So fetcher equals common and wonder whether this would work. And API equals common. I don't think this would work because this is a function. If this was an attr set, it would have worked. But maybe it could be fetcher.imports with a list that has common, and API imports a list that has common. I don't think we're convincing Roland to get into Nix again.
Sure. I mean, can we do the thing in my mind?
Very roundabout way of doing it.
Can we try the thing in my mind?
Is this not right? And yes, sure, we can try.
I mean, this seems like an approach that would work, but it smells off to me because it's like creating a single point that defines all the modules, which feels kind of antithetical to the goal of flake parts, which is to let individual files build up the whole thing.
Okay.
So what I would argue we should do, there is a common thing. And so what I would do is I would like take the buffer above, I'd duplicate that into the middle buffer. And then I'd call this module, instead of calling it fetcher, I'd call this NixOS module like PR tracker common or something.
Common.
Yeah, that's great. And then delete the import. That imports equals just goes away. This is great. And then in the buffer above and the buffer below, we just add an import to both of them. That is another NixOS module. It's this common NixOS module.
It won't be an import here, though. It would be an import here. Because this is a flake parts module.
No, we're defining a NixOS module here. I mean, you're right. It is a flake parts module, but it's defining...
A NixOS module won't get this self.
I understand. So, but what I'm saying we can do, what we've done in this middle buffer here, is we have defined a new, using a flake module, we have defined a NixOS module called common.
Yes.
So now in the buffer above, if we can get our hands on the NixOS module, we can import it in the existing imports line.
And 7, what would you add? Just
so what then we do here is we do self.nixosmodules.com as just another import.
Here?
Nope.
Self.
Yeah, exactly.
nixosmodules.com. Comment.
And then we can delete the options, and this doesn't even need to be a function anymore, which is kind of satisfying.
Don't forget the door.
You think this works? It's kind of blowing my mind. Next thing.
All right.
Maybe we should wait for Roland until we next. Let me see if I can get this straight. When this... Yeah, this is the common one. Let me put it here. When this module, flake parts module, defines an NixOS module, which is this one, and that NixOS module wants to import self NixOS modules common, and therefore it doesn't need these two.
Exactly.
And what self NixOS modules common, that's defined here under a flake parts module that of course takes self, and then specifies flake.nixosmodules.common as a NixOS module that can take packages, lib, and specifies these two.
Exactly.
I think that works. And if
then
that
we can
works,
delete the function on the left-hand
that's
side,
not even
right?
a function.
Yeah. So that gets pretty satisfying. You could even say dot imports if you wanted.
Yeah, it's dot imports.
I knew you were going to want to do that. Love it. And then we lose a layer of indentation. This makes sense, right? Like I'm not totally smoking something here.
I don't know if you're smoking something, but I think it makes sense.
Okay.
That looks more convincing if it works.
Let's give it a shot. Next show.
Something about this is not syntaxing the same way that this.
I can't answer that question.
Next. I nexted.
Sorry, Shar, I need to grab a piece of paper. I cannot keep track of who the commander is.
Exactly.
This is why.
I assume command from Jeremy, and Roland, please take the hand.
You need to stop sharing your screen.
Yes, sorry.
This sort of stuff is stuff that I want the mob CLI tool to do for me, Shar.
Yeah, but practice feeling the pain, and then we can. That is too much to do, Jeremy.
Yep.
But if we keep this up, maybe we'll get to do that as well.
Okay. So sorry, I just handed command to who?
To me. You didn't hand it to me. I have assumed it because you were absent for about.
There was a
seconds.
coup.
And I could try and expect Roland. Probably won't. No, it does do something.
By the way, Roland, why don't you? What version of Nix do you have?
Don't ask me. I don't know. Next version.
Oh, that's not too bad. Can update to 2.24 or something. Not sure. Do you still use the OS?
Yeah, I think Nix is probably handled by Pacman.
Can you update it?
Trigger a whole system
No,
update, right?
apparently there's no newer version yet. Probably takes a few days. I don't know.
Cool.
No, it makes sense. The 223 is also the default for the official installers.
Right. Probably there's a something package that would allow me to install the 24 one. But I guess they are like on the quote unquote stable version, like the official target version. I guess they stay there. And we'll switch to the 24 one as soon as that one switches.
I think there's some drama in the Nix community about what the stable version of Nix is right now.
So what is NixFlake showing us?
We should see two NixOS modules, and I see them.
We see them?
So we're in business.
In business.
So now we get to delete some commented out code?
Yeah, this comment, to the long comment. You can remove system agnostic outputs at the end. All that, the public module.
And now I think packages is finally gets the axe.
Search for packages.
I
mean, text search for the packages binding. So we
packages,
see where
good. This one?
not PKGs, packages.
Packages.
Do you mind zooming in a couple ticks?
Oh, right. I should do it in here.
Beautiful.
Nice. That's a bit much.
Yeah, less is okay too.
This one?
Sure.
All right.
So I think in principle or in theory, uneven font sizes are like less nice to look at. Is that possible?
I could do 0.5, so it's even more uneven. What you gonna do about that?
Oh no. Roland, we have viewers.
I think with like all the transformation this is gonna go through, I doubt that there's any effect of doing any of that. I probably should like change my screen resolution to 1080p if I want to optimize.
Yeah.
That.
Where does packages also show up? Anywhere else? There.
Here we inherited.
Checks. Well, that can be removed. The packages part. Anywhere else?
So is Clippy check? Does Clippy check show up on the right hand side? In our list of checks? I see it.
Yes.
Okay, so we get to delete Clippy check, which means we get to delete this entire import block. So that's wonderful.
This whole thing, or
the entire inherit.
Wonderful. Yes. We're getting places. And I think CraneLib and Phoenix are probably not used anymore.
Correct. CraneLib.
Goodbye.
Phoenix. Okay. Checks.
And then Nixos tests is used in checks, so I suppose we could go there.
Nixos tests. Packages from directory recursive. Right. Nixos tests. So the packages from directory recursive is from the packages lib, Nix packages lib. In that directory, on line 93, NixOS tests, are files that get, or directories that get imported automatically by this thing.
Right.
And you can also kind of see the result of that under, well, you could have seen it. It's in the main branch you would see. So our goal now is to, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that feels reasonable.
With using this.
But I think basically we move this this entry point, this packages from directory recursive. We'd create a new Flake parts module to handle that.
An inline one above in the list of imports.
Yeah, that works. We don't have to make a separate file for it.
I think it's what next time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't see the notification currently because that screen that shows the notifications shows the output of another computer, but I hear the sound of the notification being shown.
Roll and take a map.
Infer that it's probably that notification. All right. Should I presume command?
Yes, I think Shahar just handed it off to you, yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's do those tests. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. And then what Shahar was alluding to a moment ago, Roland, was we've been trying to like minimize the diff, although this is going to be an impossible diff regardless. So the logic was, since this is in this file, let's leave it in this file for now. And we can pull this stuff out in the future if we want to.
All right.
So I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. I'm going to hop up here. I don't have an opinion on the order here, so I'm just going to put it at the bottom of the list.
The order will become apparent later when we try to minimize the diff. When I insist on such an activity.
That is not going to be fun.
What do you mean? I'm looking forward to it.
And then this is Flake. Is NixOS tests just a top-level understood thing? That's like a well-defined...
No.
Oh, I just took a let binding. I see. Sorry. I wasn't quite reading all the code. The important part is checks.nixos tests. And that's a per system thing?
Check... Per system. So Roland, per system is an option provided by Flake parts where you get to define things that'll be for each system.
Right.
And for example, checks. And you see that on the right in the Nix Flake show output, you have the checks. They're kind of divided into systems. So this is like and we currently have already a convenience for that. It's called Flake Utils. So Flake parts also provides that convenience.
Right.
Sorry, I just kept going while you were talking. Does this make sense, what I did?
Take self and lib, and then per system, pkgs, checks NixOS. So I don't think it'll be checks.nixOS tests because
because we were leveraging flat and
checks are flat. Under system, right, checks and then some system, there's a flat adder set.
Good point. So we could say, if we want to minimize the diff, I suppose we could do a flattened tree of this thing.
It's not. There's no need.
Oh. What, just do this?
We are using packages from directory recursive, but we don't have a recursive structure. We have a flat structure. So I think this would work.
Yeah, we're losing the scoping that we got, like the namespacing.
Correct. And we shouldn't lose that.
We might have to map over it, but let's at least make this evaluate first.
Mm-hmm.
Modules/API does not exist, really. Where are we? Oh, are we doing some imports in here? Oh boy.
Probably in the tests. We're
Doesn't
probably
show
using the existing modules to define the stuff we want to
That
act
sounds
with.
very plausible. So this is in. Oh my gosh, it's going to be that hard to find, really.
If I get this on the entire screen, I'd be able to help possibly.
Like that?
Yes, thank you. What am I seeing? Error. Definition for option checks API is not of type package. So API, we messed it up somehow, and it's not a derivation.
So one thing that's probably happening is we are stepping on the toes of existing checks. Like we probably have.
I guess the existing checks use the existing packages somehow. That is not possible anymore once due to us refactoring. I mean, we could just look inside those files. Maybe it's obvious to spot.
So it smells to me like we already. Oh, wait, this still doesn't. Now, why is this failing to evaluate? I've tried to.
Modules API does not exist.
The working universe.
Something is importing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I guess I just needed to wait a moment for my editor to save or something. Sorry for that distraction. Okay, sorry. So the packages are scoped. So, sorry. Never mind. I thought that we had a check called API already, and we were then adding a new Nixos test check called API as well, and something weird was happening, but that's definitely
I'm pretty sure I know what happens. I think inside each test, we're probably importing wrong path.
Exhaust tests. Let's take a look. API.
Remember, we moved the modules.
So I guess this doesn't have much going on.
Yeah, there's also in packages, there's a Nixos modules manual, and that's importing the module under a path that doesn't work anymore, but I'm not sure that is affecting us right now. So
I think you are right to worry about that, but I think we're not there yet. That's probably this filter options check, which I think we'll get to soon.
Right.
Okay, so where's... Oh, well, I guess I'm not. Okay, modules. Shahar, I think you're right. I just don't know where that code is.
Right. Like I did rg module/API and in the yeah. So Jeremy, take command.
Okay. Shahar, take the helm.
You first need to stop sharing.
Shoot. I'll get there.
Got the helm. Sharing, starting. Evaluating, fail.
I read something about like modules/API or something like that earlier. So I thought just rg modules/API.
I like that. That probably will get us to where we need to go. Awesome.
Because modules manual.
Okay, and the stack trace was impossible because this isn't an import. Okay, that makes sense.
But I don't think
that can't work.
We can't do that anymore. I think we need to use self.
Yeah. What file are we in? Packages.
Packages.
Okay.
Modules manual.
Oh, okay. So this is a package that is now broken because of how we restructured things. Okay.
Yes.
So
it cannot be imported
just
directly.
Fix the references. Ideally, we would actually.
Yeah, couldn't we just add the NixOS in here? Would that not work? Just adding module/nixOS/API.nix.
I mean, I think ideally we'd do self.nixosmodules.api and not deal with the importing.
Right.
Let me suggest another thing. We shouldn't be using the call package pattern when we're using flake parts.
I don't know that. I mean, you're right. We could change all these packages to themselves be flake parts modules, and then they would get their hands on self that way. It would cause a lot of indentation, and I don't think the call package pattern is like an inherently bad pattern. Like what I would propose is that we augment the scope of our packages to include some of this other stuff that we need.
So I'll do what needs to happen here, which is self.
I like that. Here's a thought though, Shahar. Do we want to try to like cut the scope of this PR a little bit and actually let's fix the oh no, we can't fix the imports. Never mind. Go ahead.
Modules, API, and fetch it. Replace things. That needs to happen here.
How we get self? I would propose that we put self as a call package scope.
What's source?
And I guess you'll notice we kind of are already doing this because see how PR tracker is part of the scope?
You're right. We renamed that. Yeah. Or maybe we didn't want to make a change. So PR tracker.
Well, I think
we didn't want to change those.
This might be a bad name. Can you go to where we're building that scope?
That's Lakenix.
And there's a call to new scope somewhere, right? It's probably in Nixos modules / Flip. Did we create a module for the packages?
This package is Nix, which should be moved.
And we call new scope somewhere in here, right?
Yeah, this is we made a change to this, right? So this should be moved.
Yeah, it should get moved into
packages next
modules /
modules flake.
Yeah. And then we can update the reference in the flake.nix.
Flake.nix packages module.
Beautiful. And then if you flip back to that file, can you look at the new scope invocation?
New scope.
Okay, awesome. Oh, yeah, PR tracker's already self. Great. I was wrong.
Yeah,
you were doing the right thing. Awesome.
Okay. Let's see whether we got somewhere. Like packages.nix not exist because it had intent to add blah blah blah. And now flatten tree does not exist because that's the wrong
makes sense.
Tree.nix. That would be from
the slash or something.
There's a trick. Want to see a trick?
Sure.
String. PR tracker. Wait, where are we? Self exists here, right? Self.
Cool.
Slash.
I like that. Very cool. And that's not IFD, right?
It's not IFD because this is our source.
Yeah, it's not a derivation. We're not causing a derivation.
It's a fixed output derivation. I think IFD from fixed output derivations may be allowed, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's not really the case here.
I think it's not even a fixed output derivation. I think it's just like a file reference.
Yeah, but it's the root flake, right? Like it's different case. It's literally the source. Not sure the terms here. File system error directory, iterator cannot open directory, no such file or directory. Modules, flake packet. Okay, another. So this is somewhere in like here. This could be also probably the same deal. Self.
Beautiful.
Is that right?
Looks good. One downside of that is another relative import.
Something about the lib file set made.
Yeah, because we're feeding all this into Crane, right?
File set source.
Yeah, root equals.
There's
stringify self or something.
This. It's line 18 in flake packet multiplied times. Next.
Okay, Shahar, I hand command to you.
Roland, take the helm.
One annoying thing about Chrome is that it always prompts you whether you want to share a tab or the screen. It's like one more click. All right. Let's do mob start.
Reminds me of that song. One more click.
All right. So, where were we? What file?
It's actually one more time.
What file?
I think Jeremy's old enough to remember that.
I recognize the song. Packages.nix. That's the one.
All right, line 18.
In that root equals, you can do a stringification of self, I think is the cute trick we've been using. Oh, and then
One More Time by Daft Punk.
Oh, yeah. So I think we need to update 4 references here. There's root equals.
Is it just root that needs to be updated?
That sounds right. You can use
the same trick. Are these unions relative to root?
Probably. I mean, if not, why?
We might need to stringify them. Because, like, in like a flake context, those. Let's try it before you do it. I want to learn.
I would think those need to be strings, right?
Okay.
I would tend to agree because.
You agree with who, Shahar? Or with what?
I'm not sure they have to. The thing is, when a path is stringified, that's when it becomes a stored path. Paths in strings are not supported.
All right, so it can't use strings here. So this won't work. Use the sources.
Root, it's complaining about a root is a string-like value, but it should be a path instead.
Okay, so I guess we have to do ... Or is there a way to convert it, source it to a path?
Can you just self instead of converting it to a string? It's string-like. Okay, fine.
Use lib sources instead. What is the difference between file set and sources?
I don't know lib sources, but I know that we want to use lib file set because it's the shiny modern thing.
I mean, it tells us we can use sources instead. Right.
So I think, should we just do the relative reference?
Yeah, just the relative. And if you want to see what lib sources is,
parts actually
I don't know.
With this? Go ahead. I think it dependency injects a I think can we flip open the Flake parts docs?
Yeah.
I think it feeds a Flake root around.
Go ahead, flake.parts.
What?
Or we can just try it.
Flake.parts web domain website.
Oh, okay.
Confusing. And then search for Flake root, like camel case. Nope, I'm making shit up. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I thought that was the thing.
So if you want to know what libsources is, you can find. Oh, you can go open the Nix. Probably open the Nix REPL, and there's a new feature. But I don't. Oh well, I don't think it's in your version of Nix. Probably not 223. Probably 224. So instead, you can go to noogle.com. .dev. Sorry, what? .dev. And search for lib.sources. And I don't know. I don't know that advice was kind of general. I think we should use a path. Just now it's //. Right? What file are we in? We should do twice. 2 up. And now it doesn't need an additional /.
I also need it down here.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. And these probably also can't be strings, right? We'll complain about this. Yeah.
That's kind of meh, but we'll... Oh, look.
I mean, we could do concatenation. Like, if we defined a variable called flake root, then we could do. But I think it'll ultimately be just as messy.
And what did we succeed getting in here?
We were just fixing errors from the refactoring we did. Because packages.nix was at the root, and then we moved it down, and that caused all these issues.
Yeah, and what do we... So we have packages now, API fetcher, Nix's modules manual, and program docs.
Yeah. So the thing we were actually trying to get done was something else. I don't remember. It was on my rotation. I was starting to work on something, and then we got distracted by this error created by moving that file around. There's probably Nixos tests. We were adding checks, right? Yeah. Okay. We were in during my rotation. We were in flake.nix. We added a new module. I commented it all out. So there's some conflict markers in flake.nix.
Right. I think you can have a look at that now.
Roland, take him.
Yeah, and Jeremy, you can take the helm.
Oh, so we're back to that's how satisfying. We ran into that issue on my rotation, and now it's resolved, and we can go back to what we were trying to do.
Yeah, you produced the issues, we fixed them, and now we can create the next issue.
I didn't create this issue. Shahar's the one who moved the file. But that was
After all, I taught you guys.
There's no blame here.
This is what
just if you're going to start blaming me. Sorry, Shahar? I was talking over you, so I didn't hear what you said.
It was for the viewers.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
Great.
the
So now we have a
problem
different
started when you started using Nix, right?
Yeah, there. Okay. So love these error messages. Blah doesn't exist. RG modules / API.next.
But Roland just did an X-Flag show successfully. Oh,
so
this is
probably
this
I haven't done a mobstart 7. Check out mobstart 7. Nix packages mob starts. Okay.
Good.
Oh, really? Nix flag show? Okay, Nix flag show works, but Nix develop doesn't. Okay, so we're not quite out of the woods. Flake, API, Nix. So this is the thing I claimed would work. Attribute common is missing. Nix, Flake,
don't
show.
seem to have such a...
Oh yeah,
maybe we never imported that module? That flake part module?
Oh, good point. So if we go to flake, flake.nix, and we'll add a new one, which will be, oh wait, these are also, no, that's good. Okay, common, what did we call it? NixOS common. So there's a bit of a naming convention we'll need to figure out here. We chose to use NixOS here, but not here or here. Okay, so now I'm going to do I see common here, so that's good. Nix develop is now failing in a different way. So it's can't find some file. Maybe we have some more references we need to sort out. So if I search for crates database URL, here we go. All right. Built-ins.read file. So we're in the context of a NixOS module now.
Right, but that's now because we're trying to reuse documentation in both the Rust doc and the Nix.
So there's going to be a number of these. Okay. RG read file in modules crate. Modules NixOS. So all of these need updating.
Yeah, I mean, just churn through it, and then I think we eventually might change these things again because.
Yeah. Okay, so that one's
for now
done.
We're trying to do a minimal change that replace flake utils with flake parts.
Okay. Great. That might be it. So now if I do a Nix develop, I do think if we... Okay, great. So Nix develop works. Now we have earned the right to uncomment this code. Nix flake show. Okay. So it does not like that API is not of type package. So this is defining...
What API in what? In checks, right?
Yeah, so this is almost certainly producing a checks.api here. But it's not of type package.
It's not?
Or it says it's not.
So I guess we do have a recursive directory structure, a deep directory structure.
Oh, so we were Okay, so minimal change. Let's just do it. We're going to do flatten tree like this, right? We'll revisit this later.
Well, then it'll be checks flatten tree. Yes. That's what I mean.
And then we need to get our hands on this thing somehow. We're hoping to get rid of it, but for now I'll just say let flatten tree equals import. I don't remember where flatten tree is. It's at the root. Shall I just inline that actually?
Yeah, just inline.
And I don't even need parens, do I? My brain really wants to put parens there.
No need parens.
Dope. Show me them checks. Here we go. Yeah, so it is deep. Wonderful. Things are happening. All right, so checks. We've got
Shell is evaluating.
Well, Nix develop. Let's see. Yeah, or it is because you can see that Duran reloaded it.
Right.
So now we get to delete.
Inherit NixOS tests if you didn't already do that.
I have not. That's gone, and I'm removing it from here.
Right.
So we're getting very, very close. Self is not referenced anymore, and Nix package is not referenced. Train is not referenced. Like utils is. GitHub GraphQL schema is not. NMD is not. Tree from Nix is not. Okay. Inputs is not.
You can remove the flake utils input itself.
It is still referenced here.
As an input of the actual flake, not in the comment.
Oh, got it. Good point. It's already gone.
Okay.
We did that that was probably the very first thing we did. Okay. So we're getting very close. System specific outputs for each system. So it's apps and checks.filter options. So which do we want to do?
Checks filter options.
Okay. So filter options, check.nix. So this is just sitting at the root of our repo right now. Oh, okay, I'll rotate. As soon as I get my shell back. Next. Okay. I think I'm gonna do a coup from Roland and take command.
Do that.
Shahar, you're up. Take the helm.
Starting.
Oh, I'm getting a phone call.
That's fine.
Flake.nix, bottom. Inputs is unused here.
Yep, you can get rid of that.
And then this can be inlined.
Yeah. If we really want to simplify the code we're trying to get rid of.
There's one check here.
Hard to say, right? This could be a
it's one
deep
check
thing.
One. No, we don't need to flatten this here.
How do you know that?
Same thing. Because it's actually just an assertion, and this is a derivation. So this is not deep.
Okay, so I guess I don't really understand this. An assertion.
An assertion.
I can barely read this, unfortunately.
Okay, this says assert.
Okay.
And then in parentheses, This is a semicolon.
Okay.
These are parentheses. It says import dot slash filter options check nix and passing lib to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this file, filter options check. Keep passing lib to it.
Okay.
So if the point is, this whole thing is supposed to evaluate into true.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just like having trouble mentally parsing the commented out line of code. Like assert.
About now.
Okay, good. So I was at least able to read it, but now my brain is just like not understanding the Nix grammar, like just a fundamental.
Yeah.
I get that that's an import.
Is an expression. So all of this is one expression.
Okay.
First, the first part of it will be evaluated. This part. If it's false, everything stops. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a failed assertion.
Okay. The semicolon is what's throwing me for a loop.
If it's true, this expression will be the return of the entire assert.
Okay. So this is like just this is a core feature in the Nix language.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why my brain is having trouble parsing it, because I am not capable of writing the assert function in pure Nix. This is not a function, because this is like syntactically a weird thing that I just have never seen before.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. All right. I learned something. Thank you for explaining that. Oh man, my poor brain hasn't this is like back to the days of learning Nix. I used to look at this stuff and not be able to parse it at all. Okay. Rewriting
it's different from all the other expressions in Nix.
Yeah.
Syntactically. Because you have a semi here. I don't think.
Yeah, that semicolon's totally throwing me for a loop.
This way you can do assert true and then assert true and then assert true and then finally you can do your full expression.
Okay. Yeah, it's like it makes it feel like imperative coding again. It's like one line of code, then another line of code, which is like I haven't seen any of that in Nix before. Okay.
So if you import this function and pass lib into it,
and then the thing that comes after just has to be something that successfully can build. That's all that's going on there. It just has to. The packages.hello.
Yeah, because checks is derivations.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, there's nothing in the Nix Flake schema that is good for Nix unit tests.
Yeah. So I think I wrote a Nix unit test for the first time over in Vimnix or NixVim yesterday. And they have a slightly different pattern for this. I don't know if they use assert. Maybe my brain just glossed over it. But what they do on that right-hand side there, that packages.hello, is they're like they're defining a derivation that like prints out information about the failed tests if the test failed or something.
That's a fortunate coincidence.
So I think they're not using assert because basically they're defining a derivation that succeeds or fails based on the result of the unit tests.
Okay.
But I don't know if there's like a common pattern for this sort of thing. Like maybe they just invented something cute.
This thing works as is. We just need to move it.
Okay. I agree.
So it'll be, what is this? This is the list of imports?
Yep.
So this would be something it's lib, right? Lib. And it needs packages. So it's actually per system.
Yeah.
So this would be per system. G's. Lib from here or from there.
Yeah, you can probably get rid of the outer function. Like, I don't even think you need the ... Of
course. And then this would be that line.
Semi. Okay. And then I think we need checks. Like, that doesn't quite look right.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
Checks. Here.
Wonderful. Looks good.
I'm waiting for Roland. So I'm formatting this.
What is the check? Like, I wasn't present for when we created this. What are we testing?
All these unit tests.
Mm-hmm.
Filter options. It's filtering an options after set.
So we defined
It's a general utility
helper function somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So checks. This goes away.
Okay. Bye. Then it's apps and we're done. I know we're at time, but I'm down to push through if you want. Also happy to pick this up tomorrow.
Let's do a little bit until Roland comes back.
Okay.
Apps. Imports. Release. This kind of looks like, if I go there, right, release default, kind of looks like it could be call packaged instead of whatever we're doing here. But not really, I don't know. Because we get bump version and release from this. So I don't see a
Another
reason
thing that
why
I've
we
learned
do
recently is...
Mm-hmm.
So I guess... never mind. I take it back. Forget that I said anything.
So this is, I don't know.
It would be convenient to be able to define these in the package set, but I guess we don't want other people to think that we're creating these packages for them to use.
Yep.
So maybe we could have some concept of like private packages that turn into apps, or I don't know.
Hey, let's do this and then.
Yeah.
Right,
always room for future improvement.
And it is for per system.
Agreed.
Roland, you back? No. UKGs. And well, not flake utils. That's interesting because we're using this thing called libmakeApp here.
Oh, okay. That's probably simple to do ourselves. Like an attribute set with a type and a path or entry point or something.
So this would be apps. Doesn't flake utils have anything for flake parts have anything for apps?
I think you're doing the right thing. I did this in my flake the other day. I'm pretty sure it works.
Okay, so can I do equals and then import, release, inherit packages, and then modify something there?
Let's put a
Not
semi on the
take
left before we forget.
Flake utils. Yeah,
Not there. One line up.
not there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Bump version equals.
So I think make
you
app can just be a
remember?
dead simple function. I'll pull it up. I don't remember,
Type
but I know where the
equals
docs
app.
are.
DRV. Type equals app.
It's type and program. They're both strings.
Program.
So you have to like navigate into bin. Like you'll have to do like string interpolation for program. Or we can use lib. What is it? Lib.get.exe? Is that the trick?
Yep. Lib.get. exe. I don't have lib here though.
Cool. I love how you updated the code we're going to delete.
Assuming that get.exe.
Called without required argument lib. So did you update the commented code, but not the real code?
Nice.
Very good. All right.
Assuming that there's meta main program for those. Might not be.
Assuming what? Sorry?
Lib get.exe works only when there's meta main program.
Oh, yes.
Apps.
Looks good.
Oh, I don't know. It looks like there's... So
I think we're in biz.
Maybe bump. It's build npm package. It kind of makes sense. And write shell application.
Yeah. I mean, these all
also
come
should
from
have
Nix
meta main
packages.
program.
So if it didn't work, that would be a bug in Nix packages, and we'd fix it. Loving it.
Roland?
Hello. That was a long phone call.
Well, we
so
finished
all that remains now. I mean, rotate and
I hand control. I hand command to Shahar.
Yeah, Roland, take the helm, but we're not going to even. We're just going to show you what happened and finish.
Right. Sasha?
There is no comment, and Nix at least for now your shell is. Do we even have a shell? Like, where are we defining a shell now?
I don't know.
But it's working. Where are we defining a shell? But for real now. Flake.nix.
Grep for dev shell.
Dev shell.
With a capital S. And a lowercase d.
Oh, uppercase dev shell. Flake
there it is.
Cool.
It's somewhere in Flake.nix.
That's it.
Did we get the satisfaction of deleting all the code at the bottom of the file?
Yes.
Nice.
Technically, this is a conversion to Flake parts, but
oh, this is the wrong file.
It's not a nice commit.
That's the wrong file, yeah. I just noticed. But yeah, this one is also
beautiful. Sorry, Shahar?
Technically, it's converted to Flake parts, but
in like a terrible
it's not
way.
Yet a nice commit.
Yeah.
So, next time.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Next session.
We'll be done with this tomorrow.
I loved having you do another session with us, Roland.
Yeah, I'll see. I'm not sure if I can make it tomorrow, but I'll try to step in whenever I have that capacity available to me.
Awesome.
Nice.
Great to see you again.
All right.
Jeremy, good luck with your open source adventures.
Thank you.
I'd love to see what comes of your Nix Vim, because I'm planning on using it as well.
Tomorrow,
but I also would like to eventually not use NeoVim and use some more integrated keyboard focused editor. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm open to hearing about stuff. I think this is a good exercise for me to figure out what I use. So it might actually make it easier for me to switch rather than harder.
I mean, you could switch to Helix, because in Helix there's no scripting yet, so the config's a TOML file. They want to change that, but they haven't been able to do that for the last 3 years or so.
Oh my. Because it's like anarchist a bit and they can't build a consensus, or?
Well, I think they've figured out what they want to do. They apparently want to create their own scripting language, because that's a good idea. And it will be a functional language.
Amazing.
So they're taking inspiration from Emacs, I guess, or Helix. But
is it going to be a Lisp derivative?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked at it yet, but
Amazing.
That will be. But there's some hope that they will allow you to write Rust plugins, because Helix is written in Rust. Like, it would make sense to allow you to
maybe WASM.
Yeah, they didn't want WASM because WASM was too heavyweight for them. Apparently, but we'll see.
Amazing.
For now, I've learned to live without plugins, and it's honestly fine.
I would love to hear more about Helix sometime.
Right.
I do like the idea of an editor that forces me to go to the right places to solve problems. Like if tree sitter is the only way to do like syntax highlighting or auto completion or anything, I like the thought that like it has to get solved in that one place, and not like maybe it's harder, but it makes the world a better place and creates less weird configuration on my end.
Yeah, it actually made me write my own LSP for spell checking in Rust doc comments.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I bet that was very educational.
Which was interesting.
Yeah, that sounds super cool.
Yeah,
it does feel like NeoVim is like weighted by the decisions of the past. It's like, yeah, we do LSPs, but
it's
also
quite literally Vim with like extra stuff on top.
Yeah,
like carrying around everything that Vim is capable of, which is great because Vim is capable of quite a lot. But also, Vim is capable of quite a lot, so you're carrying all of that around.
Yeah, I mean, like, does Helix have different keyboard shortcuts than Vim, or is it like the core stuff the same?
Well, HJKL are the same.
Mm-hmm.
E, W, all of that stayed, but quite a bit of things are different. Mainly, it's the you do first a selection and then an action. So in Vim you do D E to delete a word. In Helix you do E D. So if E selects the word, D deletes.
Yeah. What is Kakoune the editor that made the case for that?
Yeah, and Helix took that mapping.
Okay.
And I like it somehow. And multi-cursor editing is really nice in Helix.
Oh, it's pretty lame in Vim. Like
because it's like built into the editor instead of being a plugin. Multi-cursor in Vim never has felt really connected. Like there has always been stuff like copy and paste using multiple cursors is something in Vim not amazing. In Helix, just works.
Yeah. For the record, Vim does have multi-cursor.
Does it have built-in?
Built-in. Like Vim, not even NeoVim. But it's like a very simple form of multi-cursor. You might not even call it that once you learn about it. But
okay, guys, I gotta go.
Okay, bye, Shari. Talk to you guys later.
I don't know that I can leave you guys here and then it'll record.
No, that's fine. This is a good way to stop it. And Roland, I would love to hear more about Helix sometime. So please do show up for future sessions.
I will.
All right.
Have a nice day.
You too.
See you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. And thank you for watching.